Hello, everyone. My name is Jenny Burak, and I'm an astrologer and an energy healer. I work with Archangel Metatron, and I use natal charts as a tool to cut through the conscious mind and to get to the stories held in the subconscious mind. And during sessions with me, if we do the initial session looking at the stories that need to be weeded out and healing for those. And then in the other sessions, we go back in and we look into timelines to find out why we have formed these agreements, these soul contracts with members of the soul family, and what it is that we were trying to glean from those lessons. And we release everything else that we understand now is a false story from the subconscious, and do some downloads to further that healing. So I want to say I appreciate everyone sending me emails and messages of condolence, for we lost our cat of 14 years. At the new moon in Virgo, one cat ran away that we hadn't had for very long. I think a neighbor, she ran out the door really late at night, and I couldn't wait up for her. I was just too tired that day. But usually when they do that, then they just come right back in the morning. And when she wasn't there in the morning, I had a feeling that somebody probably offered her food, knowing her, and she went inside, and I think she's still in their house. And then just last week, our cat of 14 years passed, and so it's been a hard week. So he was my boy, and yeah, he was on the End of Corruption video. He made an appearance during that video, my orange and white cat. So I'm really happy that I had him. And yeah, he was a great cat. He was more like a dog cat. But yeah, so thanks to everybody for thinking of me. And thank you to everyone who I had to reschedule this week, because I took a couple of days after that happened. I want to say, because I have a feeling that a lot of you will resonate with this, that I was on the phone with a friend, and I was crying to her about just all the pressure that I'm feeling right now, just having my plate overloaded. I know that I'm not alone. Believe me, I know. I walked into the nail salon, then I got off the phone with her, and the woman at the nail salon said, "How are you doing?" And I started crying again. And then she told me that the client before me had been crying. She had been crying earlier. So, I know a lot of us are feeling really overwhelmed right now, and that's okay. We're human beings. So just accept wherever you are. Just if you feel really fed up, like this is BS and I'm done with this, you're not alone. You're not alone at all. So I just want everybody to, Metatron is saying this is a period where we need to exercise what it means to have grace for ourselves, and to not demand too much of ourselves, that only leads to overwhelm and exhaustion, is what he's saying. And it's a mental exhaustion. And we can be feeling like we're missing the mark in a lot of ways right now, but we never are. He's saying that grace provides a way for us through these times of struggle. Okay, so we're going to talk about the new moon coming in Libra. It really is a big week this week. It's a huge week. I'd say this is the 11th. This is Sunday the 11th that I'm making this video. And for about the next 10 days, we've got the sun in Libra moving through, squaring today, squares Jupiter and Capricorn, and then we'll go on to square Pluto, and then square Saturn. Mars, a couple of days ago, he's still in a little bit of a square with Pluto, but then he will, as he's going retrograde and through this next 10 days too, he's going to be squaring the Capricorn planets too, what he has it squared already. And even though, say it happens on the 9th, this is the 11th, and it's still, they don't move that quickly, those big guys in Capricorn. So we're still in that energy. And when those planets are being squared, that's the energy that we're surrounded by. That's a lot of tension. It's also very powerful. When you look at the higher interpretations, or the highest vibration of Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, it really is faith and the power to move mountains, as what Metatron is saying. Taking great steps of faith, and just he's saying that now it's an act of faith to trust and to believe that all is working together for the best of all that is an act of faith right now, that even that, and he's saying that is enough just to trust. I recognize that, especially in this last week, there's a lot of readings being done about who will be president, a lot of astrological predictions about who will win the election here in the United States. And it really depends on who you're watching, how those readings go. I am not participating because I've seen that really for a while last week, it was literally every 8 hours that it was changing, what would go on during the election and then after. And it does seem to be like this astrology, when we talk about the sun in Libra squaring the COVID planets in Capricorn, and Mars and Aries squaring those as well. Of course, myself, and I haven't heard an astrologer not say that we would probably see a resurgence of cases when this is happening during this period, because of those planets squaring the Capricorn planets. But it also is a time for manifesting, he's saying, powerful revelations about the self, being able to tap into the highest vibration of self, utilizing all of the teachings that we've had about being centered within our heart and just remaining calm. Because I originally, when I was going to do, I'm going to just tell you guys that when I was originally going to do the video about the election, that I saw one of the candidates having a health crisis. It's in his astrology. It's in both of their astrology right now. The ruler of their 6th house of health, each of them, is being squared by Mars in Aries. And so, it could be either one that can become sick, or, there's a lot of ways that can manifest too. So not necessarily, but my point is that originally, like through the summer, I was seeing one scenario play out and it changed, and then it changed again. And so I'm not comfortable making a prediction like that when I see that things are changing, because I don't want to tell you guys the wrong information. So I think it's important for us to remember still that things are in flux, and that the need to know is an ego need. It has nothing to do with spirit. This is why we don't get every single answer to the questions that we ask for. And typically, if we do, then the reader is in the wrong timeline, or da 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 da. I mean, I've been on that ride. So the need to know is not really a need. And our job is to stay grounded and centered, holding faith and trust in the light. Remember that the darkness is always serving the light, always working together for the best of all that is. And they work together simultaneously. They're sort of like, they're not actually fighting. They're sort of working together. They are working together. So the new moon in Libra is happening in London on the 16th at 8:31 p.m. It happens in Chicago at 2:31 p.m. In Rio de Janeiro, that's also the 16th at 4:31 p.m. And then in Sydney, it's on the 17th at 6:31 a.m. So, yeah, actually, I didn't write that down. I believe it's a.m. Yeah, so we are... I'm really excited, honestly, about this new moon, because It falls so in the tropical zodiac from the Earth. When we look up, we give 30 degrees for each sign, and it's sort of like a flat sign, is the best way to describe it. And with sidereal and astrology, and when we work with constellations, then we're sort of coming from different. It's looking at the constellations and how they aspect the Earth. So when we say that at 24 degrees of Libra, that's where Spica is, and Arcturus, they're not actually at the same declination. They're in a different, but they line up with it in the tropical zodiac at 24 Libra or 23 and change, which is exactly where we're having this new moon. So it's really good energy, you know. Spica is located in Virgo, and I mean in sidereal in the constellation of Virgo, and Spica is about abundance and reaping the rich rewards of the harvest. And then Arcturus, and I've shared before that that's where I saw myself come to be, was Arcturus. I'm Arcturian, and Arcturus is linked a lot with teaching. It's linked a lot with science as well, and astrology falls into that category depending on what century we're in, I suppose. But yeah, it's linked a lot with higher teachings and wisdom, grace, knowledge, fortitude, and confidence is Arcturian energy. And so all of that energy is pouring into this new moon. And when I look at the chart and you see that it's squaring these planets in Capricorn, and you see what's happening with Mars, who is opposing it at the same time, what it tells me, because Mars is locked in with Eris and Black Moon Lilith, is that this new moon, it shows something unfolding over a long period of time that takes a lot of grit and determination and faith in ourselves. And so that is the energy that we're in right now: grit, determination, tenacity, and watching it all unfold. I'm wearing this color because Azriel we're going to do a meditation with Azriel coming up, Azriel and Archangel Uriel, and they wanted me to mention that this period, that we may need to reach deep down, as what Azriel is showing me, reach deep down for courage. And remember that the rough periods that we've been through before, and that they do come to an end, that it doesn't just keep going. You know, part of the aspect of us who is an ascended master, who is guiding us, ultimately your soul is guiding you, each of us on our path. That aspect of you who is the ascended master already knows the answers and how to get from point A to point B. It's really when we're in harmonic resonance with that aspect of the self, and have faith and trust and confidence in ourselves, and that we can hear ourselves, that we can trust our own guidance, that we're able to overcome these challenging periods. Remember that, you know, typically after we've been through a challenging period, then comes the time of peace and reward and reaping the bountiful harvest. And that's the energy of Spica. You know, the Pisces Virgo aspect is about bringing heaven to earth. And we have this week Neptune opposing Venus and also sextile Jupiter. So that's telling me again that there's something that we're going to be questioning. Is this what I really want? Do I feel fulfilled in this job? Is this important to me? Is this relationship working for me? Am I giving, and not getting back what I put in? And that's at work. It's in any relationship. The house that you live in, are you happy there? I mean, there's so many questions that are coming up for each of us. Everybody's individually going through something of change right now. And the sun and Mars squaring those planets in Capricorn is about allowing the old like structures that we've counted on, maybe that weren't so well formed. We're not maybe creating the best foundation for us, or the relationship doesn't have the best foundation. Really allowing those to dissolve away and transforming our lives. And that always begins with the mind, right? So as we begin this Mercury retrograde cycle, which begins officially on the 13th, 14th, depending on where you are. We're going to release stories from the subconscious, which is Scorpio, that no longer serve us. And when we talk about releasing people who abuse our power, it isn't always like a, big guy, little guy, where somebody is being pounded on. It can be that subtle, manipulative, backhanded compliment, or the way that a partner shows us what we really are worth to them when, the rubber meets the road, or something is important to us and it's just not, it's obviously not important to them. Those are ways, subtle ways, manipulative ways that our power is taken away when we're just made to feel over a period of time in subtle ways with subtle cues that we really don't matter so much to the person. As we come into the 13th, 14th, then with Mercury moving retrograde, he's going to be not quite in a direct opposition to Uranus still at that point, but very close. When it's 2 degrees and it's a planet like Uranus, it's going to feel discombobulated. People also could be confrontational and aggressive right now, with Mercury and Mars both being retrograde, and then all of this stuff being squared in Capricorn. So try to just, like, not deal with people where that there's going to be strife or confrontation, or maybe just not having a conversation, maybe a text or an email instead. Metatron was saying that this energy this week is the flavor, or the same vein of come to the edge. Come to the edge. Don't be afraid to take the leap of faith. I've told that story many times of when I jumped off Black's Cliffs, or Black's Beach, the cliffs at Black's Beach in San Diego, and I had to run down the hill and catch the wind. And once we took off, once we stepped off of that hill, we flew so high that we couldn't come down. we had to go way inland to come down, like 20 minutes past the time. I mean, we were so high. And, I know that Metatron was just demonstrating for me what was going to happen if I put faith and trust in my next steps. And, I wouldn't have thought that it would mean that I would end up here, but that's where I ended up. And it works, just taking that step of faith, having the courage to step out or to say what it is that you've been wanting to say, to express yourself without allowing, like, what you're saying, the truth that you're speaking, whoever you're speaking that truth to, their opinions really don't have anything to do with us. We sort of just leave that with them, let them have that opinion, and just move on. Speak your truth with confidence. Know that it's important, that it matters, that it is significant. The words that you have to say and what you have to share is significant. Not allowing others' opinions to interfere. That's a big part of Mercury in Scorpio too. And not taking it personally when someone is angry or flies off the handle. Not taking it personally. And I'm not saying it is easy to just walk away when someone is being confrontational or trying to bait us. But for the sake of your own peace, it's worth it, right? It doesn't really do any good to engage with people when they're acting that way anyway. And then he was also speaking to releasing stories of having to please others, having to make a sacrifice, or allowing others to take advantage of us because we want to feel a sense of belonging, because we're trying to keep the peace, because we want to stay in the relationship, that robs us of our strength and our vitality and our feelings of self-confidence and self-worth, is what he's saying. That it can be, he's saying, chipped away at over time. And then we want to be, if there is a project that you've been working on that you haven't had the time to finish, or you've been questioning, like, what are my next steps? Maybe picking that up again and taking a look at it and saying, like, how could I rework this? How can I, he's also drawing my attention to us. He's saying the physical body as the unfinished project. I'm definitely right there. I think he might be including me in that group of people. But this is a really good time to work on the physical body. Be careful with the muscles. I was diagnosed with something with my right foot not too long ago, a muscular thing. And, it's important right now. And I had been saying, stretch, take time to stretch. Because when we're in this energy, it's just a reflex to tighten up. I've been many times this week just sitting on the couch thinking about this or that. They've pointed out to me that my root had left the couch. Like I was so, not that, I mean, I'm not feeling like constantly stressed out and anxious, but when you do start to look at the future, it can be anxiety inducing because we don't know what's coming next. We really don't know. We can guess, but really, like, nobody is going to lay it all out there for us. And it's always about taking a step of faith that that's how we grow. And that's how it is proved to us that we're taken care of, that we're nurtured, that the universe meets us more than halfway when we put in an effort and make that courageous move forward. So, yeah, we have Arcturus and Spica with the new moon. And then, so this is like the next couple of weeks, like I'm talking about, where those planets are squaring the COVID planets. All, at the same time that is happening, Venus and Virgo is in a harmonious trine with those planets. So that's good. That's about implementing the dream, taking practical steps, deciding, Venus and Virgo, is it worth it to me? Does it, like Libra, does it balance my needs and the needs of others? Am I getting equal benefit from this? That's that story of like giving and giving and giving to any partner, even if it's a business partner and it isn't reciprocated. Those kinds of things are not going to be okay moving forward. They're going to go, whether it's our choice or not. They're going to fall away. And really just having trust and faith that you're supported, that the universe has your back. And so, yeah, it's a really tumultuous is what he's saying next couple weeks, but I do see a lot of promise in this energy. I see promise, I see fruitful abundance, I see prosperity. When you put Spica in the mix, it's going to be a beautiful new beginning. Okay. All right, everybody. So I hope that all of you are doing well. And I will be back as soon as I'm able to. On the 22nd, of course, the sun moves into Scorpio. And then the 31st, we have a full moon. So it'll be a blue moon, 2 full moons in October. And that full moon occurs right at the path of fire, the Via Combusta, right where my sun is in my birth chart. And so, that's going to be a big one. So, okay, everybody, hang in there. Take care. Lots of deep breathing and being in the moment. Bye, guys.